Hi everybody, welcome to Friday harness racing at two venues today. Methven on the big grass track during the day, but tonight Craig Thompson, Group 1 racing for the 3-year-old fillies who were denied the Assize Stakes Championship at 2, and I thought a race where the draw may decide it.
Yeah, it might do, Michael. Probably they've drawn neither of them that well. One's drawn 7, one's drawn second row. Telling me didn't show brilliant gate speed off the gate last week, Michael. I mean, Nevada got probably across her. I think it was a case they're quite happy to let Nevada go. So she's probably going to have to burn a little bit quicker than what she did last week to get across them. And Better Twist has never had brilliant gate speed anywhere, Michael. So I think she's just going to probably do what she does do and try and outstay them, work into the race at some time. And I think she was out there last week as a bit of a sightener, Michael. I thought she was handled nicely. I thought she did exactly what Mark wanted her to do, and I was most impressed with her run. I think the $3 is backable on her over the 2.1 around the favourite.
Yeah, these are the two favourites, along with She's No Lady, who's one on the second line. That's really going to affect her chances. All the races tonight are miles at Alexandra Park, so the $120,000 final, which would usually be 1,700. Is a mile. I'll go Darling Me, because I don't think many of those horses inside her for this sort of money would get in her way and stay in her way. But I know what you're saying. Barrier 7's not ideal.
Probably the one that will be Ideal Sports Girl.
Yeah, I thought if she did that, she might bring She's No Lady into the race. But I also thought if the real pressure came from the All Stars, they might puncture her by the top of the straight.
Right. I'm more thinking that Darling Me may not get the front like a lot of people are thinking just by coming across. I remember it's only a mile, and Ideal Sports Girl can get a bit fired up in her races. So maybe they'll press on, but there is a school of thought that the 3-wide train may just have to keep coming because the lead's not going to be there for the favourites.
Look, I thought maybe they would try and hand up only because for a horse like Ideal Sports Girl, a Group 1 placing probably sets her up for good for the rest of her breeding career for years to come. But I understand what you're saying. It was my first thought about dangers to Darling Me. I thought the horse who was just an absolute ratings moral for the night, Craig, and you don't go tipping horses from barrier 6 and miles at Alexandra Park very often, but Star Galleria, surely he just blasts off the gate, leads and wins tonight.
Well, he should do. I mean, he's actually, to be fair, he shouldn't be in this race, Michael. Let's be honest about this. I mean, this is a rating 67 to 102. We're talking about 37 rating points between the top and the bottom. Definitely sways towards Star Galleria. Should lead. Tommy Lincoln's the only one that could possibly hold him, but you'd think from the draw, quite happy to take a trail behind obviously an open class horse like Star Galleria. So he'll be unbackable. He'll be I think around 130, something like that on the fixed odds. So he's probably a multi-taker for me, Michael. He's a funny horse, Star Galleria. I thought he was better last week, but I thought he was driven very well by Stephen Reed. And again, he got beat by On the Cards and he got beaten by South Coast Arden. It's been a long time since he's won a race, Michael, but maybe tonight's the night.
Yep, you won't be able to say that by tomorrow morning. I think he's an absolute filthy moral. Interesting race, I thought, was the trot. Pretty Majestic, I think, will be suited by the mobile mile, but Credit Master was so good last week. He actually looked at home at Alexandra Park when he hasn't looked really at home there most of the times he's raced right-handed.
I agree with you, Michael. He got round at the right time. There was a pretty good drive by Andrew Neil. I think Todd Mitchell saw him come and said, right, that's the right horse to follow. So let him go, and he worked to the front. And I think he's building a bit of confidence now. Barrier 8 over a mile. Again, you very rarely we talk about backing horses from the outside of the gate, but I think he maps to go forward early along with a couple of others. I haven't got a firm opinion on this race. Very interested to see how they market this race up because I think there's 2 or 3 chances. I think Pretty Majestic was a little bit unlucky last week. I think she's a big improver from the run.
All right, what do you like on all mile night? And probably the first thing you need to know here, punters, is since they've started these all mile nights the last 2 seasons, you think the barrier draws 1, 2, 3 would dominate. They actually haven't, Craig. They've been coming all over the shop in these mile races, and they've actually tended to be very good turnover races.
Very good turnover races. I think what's happened is in the old days, drivers have just waited to see what's unfolding from the gate. Now they're just being progressive and saying, listen, we can't go back, so we've got to go forward. And what it's doing is a true tempo right from start to finish, and there's no cheap quarters as you used to get in these miles races, Michael. I like a horse called Dina Brown earlier on. Thought she was fantastic last week. If you look at her run where she came from, 3 wide in a race that was taken out by Mr. Fantastic. Kango was in that race as well. It was a really, really good field. So I think Dina Brown, very hard to beat. And one in the last, I thought, from Anna Donnelly's team. If you're looking for a roughie in the last, Outlaw Man, quite like it as a horse. It's a half to New York minute. I think it's got the right draw to get money, and it should be at reasonable value. So it was very good off the clock last week and ran the best splits in the maiden race. So maybe an each way bet.
Yeah, the horse who ran second, you're thinking of wasn't Kango, it was Christians Have Time.
Christians Have Time. Sorry, Kango was the week before.
Very strong race, Mr. Fantastic. Christians Have Time beating Dinah Brown, and she does look in a far significantly easier race tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Mile racing at Alexandra Park this evening, and then we roll into a big weekend where we have 2 Kaikoura meetings. We'll be back to preview those on the Facebook page and hrnz.co.nz over the weekend.